Okay, welcome back everyone. On this quick video, we're going to do a little demonstration working with paragraph type as opposed to point type and just clicking. I'm going to use my little buddy Angel here. I'm going to do a little inspirational quote about dogs. I've always liked the quote that says, "Be the person your dog thinks you are." So let's go ahead, get right into it. Open up your image to the correct size as required in the skills practice. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my background layer just because it's what I do to continue being non-destructive. And we're going to go right into the type tool. So in the previous video, and when you're just working on one line or a couple of words of type, you're going to just click and you're going to have what we're going to call point type. So if I go and start typing, or for lack of time, I'm going to paste, "Be the person your dog thinks you are." It's just going to keep trailing off. So what you want to do, what you want to do is choose your type tool and click and drag. So also want to make sure you might have an image that is going to work, unless you plan on adding layer effects to this. That includes some space where you can fit your inspirational quote for this specific project. So if I go ahead and draw a box, it's going to wrap and rag type the way the box sees it fit. Now you can go back in there too and adjust that, and you can type and press enter and make it work the best way you want so that it still looks visually pleasing, because as long as you don't rasterize or change your text, you can still edit it the best way possible. So you might want to go in there and change colors of type. You can take colors from the image if you want to. Maybe that doesn't work. Get a little doggy color in there. Let's see. But also, don't just be finished when you're done here. So, I've worked with this already, and I already know if I have an image with some space that is going to fit the correct type, amount of type that I have, that's going to be one of your big, I think, troubleshooting issues. Because if you come in here and maybe you didn't make your box big enough, it's not going to work. And if you make your box too small, similar to if you just chose point type, it's going to trail off and not work and fit where you want it to fit, right? Don't be the person. Be the person your dog thinks you are. So I'm going to leave it where we pretty much started in the beginning. I feel like I like it maybe this way. Let's change it. We can always go back into it, and I'll move it down here. I like that it kind of goes around the dog's face right there in the beginning. But what I want to stress is that you can go in as well and kind of emphasize different words when you're working with inspiration. That's really what it's about. Once you get the text tool and paragraph type down and you get the text where you want it, you still might have some troubleshooting issues when you start changing the type and color. But all we're going to do is select, one word that maybe we want to emphasize. Be the person your dog thinks you are. Maybe I'll just change that font. I'll go something kind of similar. Maybe we'll make that. I guess I can't make that font bold, but maybe we'll choose another one. Maybe I'll make it italicized. Maybe I have to make it bigger to get my point across after I italicize it. And maybe that doesn't work. So maybe we'll go back in and choose another one. I like that. Can we do anything to that one? We'll leave it there. Maybe I'll change the color. Maybe I'll add a gradient. I don't know. Let's see what it looks like here. Yeah, so just changing that doesn't really work the best, I don't think. I don't know. Let's see. Let's move this out of the way here. Let's try blue. Kind of like it. A little hard to read, but I like it. So I want you to work on that. If you want to go in and go back to some of the stuff you learned in the previous video, so that maybe it stands out more, even if you're not going to screen back the text. You can go ahead and do the same idea. If you hold Control and make that your selection when you're not selected on them. We'll go in here. Let's see if adding a drop shadow to everybody makes it a little easier to read. So I might soften it up and definitely change the distance. So I like what it did with the word dog specifically, and maybe not the rest of the words, so maybe I'll change the colors of the rest of the words. But this is your chance too to repeat some of the steps differently. If we're not using an adjustment layer and screening back the text, now we're working with colors. See how the effects panel affects your color type, and try different things. Don't change too many fonts, that'll get distracting, but if you're going to work with 2 different type families within one set of inspiration, I think that'll be just fine for you to work with. But again, make sure you click and drag. You can continue highlighting the letters, and depending on how many words you have, make sure it fits best for your image. Alright, again, troubleshooting is key, what we're doing practice for. Maybe I want to make that closer. Maybe I'll nudge it with my arrow keys, just so it gets a little closer. I don't know. But that's all we're really doing. So again, if you choose your text tool, I'm going to turn it off just to repeat what we mentioned. And you go in here and you just click and you start to type, and I can press enter and continue going on. But if you plan it out with your box first, you'll be able to continue moving the box around. So you see here, if I click on this, it's a little different, right, than when we came in here with our text tool. Let's turn that off. And now I have these little anchor points to continue moving it. I don't have that option, okay? I mean, I can select it, and I can start moving it and scaling it down with the transform tool, but then we're talking about distorting your type, even though the layer might be still editable. So you want to go to your ParagraphType tool by clicking and dragging. And again, just know if you miss it the first time, and you start typing gibberish, or just type the word dog 700 times, and I'm still typing. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic, but I'm still typing. It still exists, right? You can click and drag that box. I didn't press enter, it wraps whenever it hits the wall, and then here it's different. So if I go back in and I do something like this, and I'm following the image, and then I press enter, that'll be my breaking point. So you can still format the paragraph the normal way you would in any Word document by pressing enter and such, and then when you change the size of the paragraph box, your return marks will stay there. So practice that. Maybe try an inspirational quote with an author so that you can work in the same box with different types of lines of text as well. I think that'll be helpful for you, and I hope this helps. Email us if you have any questions. Thanks.